Athens at this point was a much smaller city than it was in the days of Alexander the Great and in the days of past. There was only about 20 to 30,000 in the city of Athens at this point. But Athens was a university city. Athens was a city which the Romans came to tour from. If you know Roman history, Rome defeated the Greece. It was called the Macedonian Wars, and it's called the Greco-Roman Wars, in which the Roman Republic defeats the countries of Greece. And basically, Greece kept rebelling against Rome. So finally, actually, Rome ransacked the city of Corinth, destroyed all the buildings, and they sacked the city, and they took all the treasures to Rome. But not only did they take all the treasures of Rome, they took a lot of the people as slaves to Rome. And so Greece was a very educated and cultured community, but they became slaves in the Roman Empire. So what do you do as a teacher? You taught at the universities in Corinth, and all this. Now all of a sudden you're a slave in Rome because the Romans are the masters now, and they have all the money. These slaves were now on the books to educate the Roman kids. A lot of the Roman historians were actually Greek captives because they were so fluent and literate. They started recording all the events, and they started educating all the young Romans. So basically there's a saying that Rome defeated Greece, but Greece captured Rome, because the Romans started becoming Greeks, their way of thinking. And so a lot of them later on, they wanted to go to the places where their professors were and where the philosophers were, where Socrates and Aristotle went. So they actually went to Athens to tour Athens. And so Athens was basically, in Paul's day, was like a university city where people would come over and all the thinkers. So they're kind of like, imagine going to a coffee shop at a university where they're all talking about different issues and different politics and different philosophies and different theories and all. They're having all these discussions and you're like sitting in the background. That's kind of what Athens was. And so then they had a marketplace with the agora, did their commerce, and they were all trading, but they were still talking and they were still philosophizing about different issues. Who is God? And, what happens after you die? And, all these things, the afterlife and so forth. They were having all these discussions. This is like the perfect place for Paul. So Paul is there. He's waiting for Timothy and Silas to arrive. And it's kind of like, I can kind of picture Paul, kind of standing against the wall. And he's kind of walking around, and he just can't, he goes, I can't help it. I gotta engage. I gotta start talking to these people.